Hello and welcome back to our channel. I am Maniket from IGCSE on Fingertips. Today we are going to solve grade 10 paper and the paper code is 058043MJ21. Let's get started. Question number 1. Yasmin and Jack share an amount of money in the ratio 21:19. Yasmin receives $6 more than Jack. That is, Yasmin is receiving $6 more than Jack. Calculate the total amount of money shared by Yasmin and Jack. See, for example, if Jack receives $10, then Yasmin will be receiving $16. If Jack receives $12, then Yasmin will get $18, right? It means the difference between their money or the amount is $6. So here ratio is given to us, so the difference between their amount is going to be of $6. Thus I can write that 2x equals to 6, x equals to $3. Now I have to find the total amount of money. So total parts of the money are 40 because 21 plus 19 is 40. Thus 40 into 3, 120 is the total amount received by Yasmin and Jack. In a sale, all prices are reduced by 15%. Yasmin buys a blouse with an original price of $40. Find the sales price of the blouse. Okay, so in the sale, the price is reduced by 15%. So 40% of 15 and 40 minus that. Or as the price is reduced by 15%, Yasmin will only pay for the 85%. So you can also write this as 40 into 85 upon 100. Both of them are correct. So 40 into 85 upon 100. This is $34. Jack buys a shirt in the sale with a price of $29.75. Find the original price. Okay. So let's say original price and discounted price. If the original price was of 100, then in the sale there is a discount of 15%. Thus the discounted price will be of $85. Now the discounted price is 29.75. So what will be my original price? So original price is going to be 29.75 into 100 upon 85. 29.75 into 100. So the original price is of $35. Next question. Xavier's salary increases by 2% every year. In 2010, his salary was 40,100. Find his salary in 2015 and give your answer to correct to nearest dollars. Okay. So this salary is increasing 2% every year. So now this becomes a question of compound interest where your principal is 40,100 and your rate is 2% and the time frame is 5 years. So 40,100 into 1.02 power 5. Answer comes out to be as 44273.6. But we are supposed to write to nearest correct dollars, correct to nearest dollars. So we'll round out the amount and the answer is going to be $44274. Next question. In which year is Xavier's salary first greater than 47,500? So in which year will he get the salary which is greater than 47,500? Right, now we have already checked that in the 5th year his salary is around 44,274. So we can do this sum by trial and error. What we can do, we can just change the time. Let's say I am now taking my n as 8 years, right? So let me check what my answer comes out to be. If I take my n as 18, my answer is 46,983.5. See, still his salary has not reached 47,500. Now let me take my n as 9. So if I take n as 9, the salary comes out to be 47 into 923.212. Yes. So as you can see, in the 9th year, his salary crosses 47,500 mark. So the answer is going to be 2010 plus 9 years, which is 2019. There is one more way of solving this sum, right? Because this is a very tedious way. Had the answer be around 15, 20, 25 years, it is very difficult for us to keep on increasing the number, right? So there is one more way. The other way is by using log. Let's say, what salary do I want? I want my salary to be greater than 47,500. So that is going to be my amount is equals to principal into 1 plus r upon 100 power n. Now here I am supposed to find n. So 47,500 divided by 40,100 is equals to 1.02 power n. So 475 divided by 401. Let me 475 divided by 401 is equals to 1.02 log power n. Now see, log is generally a part of your syllabus in your A levels, but still let me just cover the concept. Let's say if I take log on both the sides, log means logarithm. You don't need to apply the concepts, you can easily solve it using your calculator. Let's say if I take log on both the sides, so in log there is a property that if you take log on if I take log here, then the power will come in front of log. So log 1.02. So now my n will be log 475 upon 401 divided by log 1.02. As you can see in your calculator, you'll have a function which is log, right? You can substitute this value in your calculator and you'll get your n as log 475 upon 401 divided by, just a second, I have made a mistake, divided by log 1.02. This comes as 8.55 here. N comes to me at 8.55. So obviously in 8.55 years his salary is going to be 47,500. So my N is going to be, I'll have to round it off. So my N is going to be 9. That is, in 9th year his salary will cover the mark of 47,500. Third, log will help you to find the exact value of n. Had the answer be around 12, 15 years, 30 years, so that method would have become tedious, but log will help you easily do even the most complicated problem, like the n is of around 30 years, 50 years, whatever it is. In 2020 the population of a town was 5% more than in 2018. In 2021 the population of this town was 2% less in 2020. Find the overall percentage increase from 18 to 21. Okay, so we have first been given that in 2020 the population was 5% more than in 18. So let's say 2018 the population is 100. So in 2020 it will be 5% more, which is 105. And in 2021 the population was 2% less than in 2020. So 2% of 105 is 2.1. So my new population will be 105 minus 2.1, which is 102.9. So now my overall change is 2.9, 100 to 102.9 upon original value into 100. So overall percentage change is 2.9. Let's move to the next question. Y is equals to px square plus t. Find value of y when p is 3, x is 2 and t is 13. Okay, so let us substitute this value. 3 into 2 square plus minus 13. 2 square is 4, 4 into 3 is 12, 12 minus 13 is minus 1. Rearrange the formula to write x in terms of p, t and y. That is, we are supposed to make x the subject of formula. So let me just rearrange. We'll shift t to the left hand side. Y minus t is equals to px square. Let us divide this by p is equals to x square. So now my x is going to be under root of y minus t upon p plus or minus. Factorize 15x square minus 2x minus 8. Factorization means splitting the middle term. Now we are supposed to split the middle term, which is minus 2, in such a way that when we add those two numbers, we should get minus 2, and on multiplying those two numbers, we should get product of first and last term, which is 15 into 8 or minus 8, minus 120. So on adding those two numbers, I should get minus 2, and on multiplying them, I should get minus 120. I think minus 12 and 10 would do. So this will be 15x square minus 12x plus 10x minus 8. So let me take here 3x as common. So I'll be left with 5x minus 4. And if I take here 2 common, I'll be left with 5x minus 4. So my answer is going to be 5x minus 4 into 3x plus 2. Solve the equation. Okay, so 5x minus 4 equals to 0, therefore x is equals to 4 by 5, or 3x plus 2 is equals to 0, x is equals to minus 2 by 3. Minus 2 by 3 or 4 by 5. Next question. Factorize completely. Okay, see, you can see that x is common, so I can write this as x square minus 16 y square. This now forms a square minus b square. So this can further be factorized as x plus 4y into x minus 4y. Just x into x plus 4y into x minus 4y. Next question. Simplify. Okay, we are supposed to simplify. So we have in numerator we have 4 terms. So we like to take something common. Let's say here 2x minus 1. In these two terms, let me take minus 2 as common. I'll be left with 2x minus 1 minus 2a, sorry. And in denominator I'll take x as common. So I'll get 2x minus 1. So once again I'll take 2x minus 1 as common. So 2x minus 1 into 1 minus 2a upon x into 2x minus 1. So my final answer is 1 minus 2a upon x. Next question. Zoe's test scores last term were, this was the last term score. Find the range. Range means highest value minus the lowest value, which is 10 minus 6, 4. Mode means the data with highest number of frequency, that is 7. Median means the central value. Let me check the number of observations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 observations. So the central value will be 9 plus 1 divided by 2, as the number of observations are even. So 10 divided by 2, fifth observation. So first, second, third, fourth and fifth. My median is 8. The cumulative frequency diagram shows information about the time taken by each of 200 students to solve a problem. Find the median. Median means central value. So if there are 200 students, so my median will be of 100th value. My 100th value is something around 14. Then find interquartile range. Interquartile range means upper quartile minus lower quartile. Upper quartile means 75th percentile. So 75th percentile of 200 will be 150. So at 150, the value comes out as around, just let me draw it using a proper scale. So this comes out to be between 14 and 16, which is upper quartile is my upper quartile is going to be 15 and my lower quartile is going to be 25th percentile. So 25th percentile of 200 is 50. So at 50, let me check my value. So the value looks between 10 and 11, which is 10 and 12, which is 11. So my interquartile range will be of 4. Next question. The test scores of 200 students are shown in the table. Calculate the mean. Okay, the mean is going to be 5 into 3 plus 6 into 10 plus 7 into 43 plus 8 into 75 plus 9 into 48 plus 10 into 21 divided by 200. So 15 plus 60 plus 7 into 43 plus 8 into 75 plus 9 into 48 plus 210 divided by 200. So the median comes out to be, the mean comes out to be 8.09. Next question. The height in centimeter each of 200 plants is measured. The histogram shows the result. Okay. Find the estimate mean height. So we are once again supposed to find mean, but we have been given the histogram. So we have been given frequency density. So first we'll need to find frequency. Now what is the formula of frequency? Frequency is nothing but, or I can write frequency density is equals to frequency upon class width. So from here I can write frequency is equals to frequency density into class width. See, here my frequency density is 1 and my class width is 30. So 1 into 30, frequency is going to be of 30. Here my class width is 20 and frequency density is between 3 and 4, which is 3.5. So 3.5 into 20, I think this is 70. Next, class width is 10, frequency density is 4. So 4 into 10, 40. Here my frequency density is of 10 and class width is of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3.6. So 3.6 into 10 is 36. And here my frequency density is of 0.6 and class width is of 40. So 0.6 into 40 is 24. Now let us find the mean. For mean we'll also need the middle values, midterms. Mid value of 50 and 80 is 50 plus 80 divided by 2, which is 65. Mid value of 80 and 90, 80 and 100 is 90. Here 105, 115 and here 140. So 30 into 60 into 65 plus 90 into 70 plus 105 into 40 plus 115 into 36 plus 140 into 24 divided by 200. So let me do that. 30 into 65 plus 90 into 70 plus 105 into 40 plus 115 into 36 plus 140 into 24 divided by 200. So the mean comes out to be 99.75. Next question. A is the point 1 comma 5 and B is the point 3 comma 9. Find, M is the midpoint of AB, find midpoint of M. Midpoint is going to be 1 plus 3 divided by 2, 5 plus 9 divided by 2. So 1 plus 3, 4, 4 divided by 2 is 2, 9 plus 5 is 14, 14 divided by 2 is 7. Find the equation of the line that is perpendicular to AB and passes through M. So equation which is perpendicular to AB, it means gradient of AB into that perpendicular line is going to be minus 1. The product of the gradients is going to be minus 1. So let us first find the gradient of AB. Gradient of AB is going to be 9 minus 5 y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1 into m2 is equals to minus 1. 9 minus 5, 4 upon 2 into m2 is equals to minus 1. 1s are 2s are. So m2 is going to be minus half. Now we are supposed to find equation. So equation is given in the format y is equals to minus half x plus c. Now the line is passing through M. So let us substitute the value of x and y in this equation. So 7 is equals to minus half into 2 plus c. So 7 is equals to minus 1 plus c. C is equals to 8. So y is equals to minus half x plus 8. Next question. The position vector of P is minus 2, 3 and position vector of Q is minus 2, 5. Find the vector PQ. See, we have been given position vector of P. Let's say this is the origin, this is OP and this is OQ. We are supposed to find PQ. So if we want to go from P to Q, we'll first have to go from P to O, then from O to Q. We have been given OP. OP is minus 2, 3. But PO is opposite of OP as the direction is this, and now we are traveling. If I am moving from P to O, I am traveling towards O in the opposite direction of OP. Thus, my vector is going to be opposite of OP, which is 2 minus 3 plus OQ, which is minus 2, 5. 2 minus 2, 0, minus 3 plus 5, 2. So the position vector, the vector PQ is 0, 2. Okay. PR is such that there is a point R, okay. There is a point R over here in such a way that PR is 3 times of PQ. Let's say here I have R. This PR is 3 times of PQ. So let's say my PR is XY. This is 3 times of PQ. My PQ is 0, 2. Thus my PR is going to be 0, 6. And position vector of R, I am supposed to find position vector of R. Position vector of OR is going to be OP plus PR. OP plus PR. As you know, OP is minus 2, 3 and PR is 0, 6. So my position vector finally is going to be minus 2 and 6 plus 3, 9. Next question. OT is equals to T, OU is equals to U, uy is equals to 2 times of yt. So uy is 2 times of yt. This is there into ratio of 2:1. Find oy. Find oy in terms of t and u. Okay, so my oy is going to be, let me go by this way. You can either go from this direction or from this direction. So my oy is ou plus ui. We know that ou is u, but ui, I need to find ui. See, ui, y is a point which lies on the line ut. So first I'll have to find ut. My ut is going to be, I have to go from u to t. So if I'm moving from u, this is in my opposite direction. So my ut is going to be minus u, and when I come towards t, this is in my same direction. So minus u plus t, right? But ui is not ut. Ui is 2/3 of ut. 2/3 of ut, which is u plus 2/3 times of minus u plus t. Let me take LCM. 3u minus 2u plus 2t upon 3, which is u plus 2t upon 3. Next question. Z lies on OT and YZ is parallel to U. Find OZ in terms of U and O. Z lies on OT and YZ is parallel to UO. We have to find OZ. So let me use the concept of similarity. I am taking this triangle and this triangle. As you can see, these two triangles will be similar. How come they are similar? See, these two lines are parallel. Thus, I can say OZ acts as a transversal. Therefore, these triangles will be same, corresponding angle. Similarly, parallel lines, UI acts as a transversal. Thus, this triangle will also be same. So, as similar triangles have sides which are divided in the ratio, right? As you can see, UT is 3 times of YT. UT is 3 times of YT. This is into 1:3. Similarly, OT will also be 3 times of ZT. Now, as you saw, UT was divided into 3 parts, out of which one was YT and 2 were UI. In the same way, OT is also there into 3 parts, out of which one is ZT and the 2 parts are of OZ. Thus, my OZ is nothing but 2/3 times of OT. OZ is 2/3 times of OT, which is 2/3 T. Next question. Solve the simultaneous equations. Okay. See, no need to take LCM because we have x as same. Let us subtract them. So this will get cancelled. 2x minus 5x is minus, sorry, 2y minus 5y is minus 3y. 13 minus 22 is minus 9. Minus 9. So your y is 3. Let us substitute this value of 3. X plus 2 times of 3 is equals to 13. X plus 6 is equals to 13. X is equals to 13 minus 6, which is 7. So y is minus 9 and x is 7. Next question. Same way we have to solve the pair. Sorry, just a second, I have just made a mistake. Y is 3, not 7. Just made a mistake in writing. Just realized it now. Y is equals to 2 minus x and y is equals to x square plus 2x plus 2. So as they are simultaneous equation, their x and y will be same. So let me just equate them. 2 minus x equals to x square plus 2x plus 2. 2 and 2 will get cancelled. Let me bring everything to right hand side. 0 is equals to x square plus 2x plus x. So x square plus 3x equals to 0. So I can take x as common. X into x plus 3 is equals to 0. So my x is going to be 0 or my x is going to be minus 3. So let us find the corresponding value of y. X is 0 and minus 3. When my x is going to be 0, y will be 2. 2 minus 0 is 0. And when my x is minus 3, 2 minus of minus 3, which is plus 3. So 2 plus 3, my y is going to be 5. Next question. In a class of 24 students, 18 like homework, 15 students like tests, and 1 student does not like homework and does not like test. Complete the Venn diagram to show the information. Okay, so 1 student does not like either, 15 students like tests. So this total should be 15. The similar way, 18 like homework. This total should be 18. So let's say there would be still some students common that who also like homework as well as tests. Let's say those number of students are x. So my homework students is going to be 18 minus x, as the total number of students who like homework are 18. Similarly for test will be 15 minus x. Now when you add all of them, you should get 18 minus x plus 15 minus x equals to 24, because I have left one student. He does not like either. 18 plus 5, 33 minus x equals to 24. Therefore, my x will be, just a second, let me check. 15, 18 students. Okay, sorry, made a mistake. This will be 23, as I have left one student. So 33 minus x equals to 23. Therefore, my x is going to be 10. So now let me just fill in the information. This is going to be 10. 15, 18 minus 10, which is 8, and 15 minus 10, which is 5. Write down the number of students who like both homework and tests. So there are 10 students who like both of them. Find h dash intersection t. H dash means everything except h. Intersection t. Now in h dash and t, there is only this portion which is common. So my answer is 5. A student is picked at random from the class. Find the probability that this student likes test but does not like homework. He likes test but does not like homework. So 5 out of 24. 2 students are picked at random from the class. Find the probability that both do not like homework and do not like tests. See, they have picked up 2 students, but there is only one student who does not like homework. So now if I pick one student, which is 1 out of 24, now I will be left with no student, which is 0 out of 23. So this answer is going to be 0. Next, 2 students who like homework are picked. Find the probability that both students also like test. So number of students who like homework are 18. Out of that I am picking 2, but I am also have to make sure that both of these also like tests. So out of 18 students, there are 10 students who like homework. Sorry, who also like tests. So 10 into 18 upon 9 into 17. 9 ones are, 9 twos are, 2 ones are, 5s are. So the answer is going to be 5 upon 70. 2 students were picked and both the students also like the tests. Next question. Write down inequality shown by number line. See here, this curve, this is dark, or I should say this is bold, and this is a hollow sphere or a hollow circle. Hollow circle means this point is not included, and the dark region means this is included. So my inequality is going to be minus 2 less than x less than equals to 1. Write the equation in the form of x square plus x plus b whole square plus q. Okay, let me just expand them. Is equals to x square a plus b whole square, a square plus 2ab plus b square plus q. Now we can compare the coefficient. In front of x we have 2p. In front of x here we have 4. So my p is going to be 2. Right. Now, are there any coefficients who does not have a value of x, or I should say, are there any constants here? So this is a constant 1, and here there are two constants, which is p square plus q. Now we have already found out the value of p. So 1 is equals to 2 square plus q. So my q is going to be minus 3. So final formula is x plus 2 square minus 3. See, you could also write this in another way. Let me teach you. Let's say an equation is given in this format, x square plus bx plus c. This is generally called completing the square format. So what you can do, take x here, then find half of b. Half of b is b by 2 square minus b by 2 whole square plus c. Let me do it over here. The equation is x square plus 4x plus 1. So x plus, what is half of 4? 2 square minus 4 divided by 2, 2 minus 2 square plus c. So x plus 2 square minus 4 plus c is, my c is 1. So minus 4 plus 1 is minus 3. See, same answer. Even if the sign would be of minus, even if this would be of minus, so we would apply the same concept here, minus, right? X minus b by 2 minus b by 2 whole square minus c. Now use your answer in part 1 to solve the equation. So answer of part 1 is x plus 2 square minus 3 equals to 0. So let me just use that to solve. X plus 2 square is equals to 3. X plus 2 is equals to under root plus or minus 3. So my x is going to be minus 2 plus root 3, or x is going to be minus 2 minus root 3. Let me find the answer. Minus 2 plus root 3 is minus 0.268, and minus 2 minus 3 is minus 3.73, right? Let's move to the next part of the question. Use your answer in part B1 to find out the minimum point on the graph. See, in order to find out the minimum point are also known as turning point. So for any equation, you first convert them into completing the square format, which is this format. Now you have to check that at what value of x will this become 0. At what value of x will this become 0? As you know, if I take x as minus 2, this term will become 0, right? So this will look something like this: minus 2 plus 2 square minus 3. So my y is going to be minus 3. So these are my coordinates of the minimum point, or you can write down as turning point, or you could also state them as stationary points. So coordinate is minus 2 comma minus 3. Next, on the diagram, sketch the graph. Okay, so we are supposed to sketch the graph, no issues. Let me take, we have already solved this equation. We have already found out the two values of x is minus 0.268 and minus 3.373. These are those values when your y was 0. So one value was, around minus 2.7, minus 0.27, and another was something around 3.7. So first you'll plot these values. See, I have plotted the graph, right? See, I've know that one value is minus 0.268, sorry, my mistake, minus 0.268, and another is going to be minus 3.73. So let me just first plot these values. See, I've plotted these values, first and second one. Now I also know that my minimum point is when x is minus 2, right? So now using these three coordinates, I have drawn a symmetrical graph which is in shape of a parabola. Easy, quite easy. Next question. A solid cuboid measures 20 by 12 by 5. Find volume. So volume is going to be length into breadth into height, which is 20 into 12, 240, 240 into 5, which is 1200 cm cube. Find total surface area of cuboid. Total surface area is 2 into LB plus BH plus HL, which is 2 times of length into breadth, 20 into 12 plus 12 into 5 plus 20 into 5. So 2 times of 240 plus 60 plus 100. So 300 plus 400, 400 into 800. 800 cm square is my answer. The surface area of the cuboid is painted. The cost of the paint is 1.50. Find the cost of 1 centimeter square of cuboid. So for 800 cm square, the cost is $1.52. So for 1 cm square, how much is going to be the cost? So the cost is going to be 1.52 divided by 800. So 1.52 divided by 800, answer is 1.9 into 10 raised to minus 3. But I am supposed to find the answer in cents. So we'll multiply it with 100. So the answer comes out to be 0.19 cents. Next question. A solid metal cylinder with radius x and height 9x by 2 is melted. All of the metal is used to make sphere with radius r. Find r in terms of x. Volume of the sphere is 4 by 3 pi r square, pi r cube, sorry. So metal is melted to make a sphere. If all of the cylinder is used, therefore their volume will going to be same. So volume of cylinder, I can write it as pi r square h, which is x square into h, and my volume of sphere is 4 by 3 into pi r cube, right? So pi will get cancelled. X square into x is x cube into 9 upon 2 into 3 upon 4 is equals to r cube. So my r cube is going to be 9 3s are 27 upon 8 x cube. So r is cube root of 27 upon 8 x cube, which is 3 by 2 x or 1.5x. Next question. The diagram shows a cylinder of height 150 centimeter on horizontal ground. The cylinder has a radius of 20 centimeter. The cylinder contains water at a depth of 5 centimeter as shown in the diagram. Calculate the volume of the cylinder and give your answer in later. So this is a 3D shape which is shown to us. Now volume is nothing but area of cross section into height. Now what is my cross section? This is nothing but a circle. Let's say this is my center. This is 20 centimeter. Water is at this much depth and the height of this is 5 centimeter. Therefore, this height is going to be 15 centimeter because this forms my radius minus 5. We have been given perpendicular height. So 20 minus 15 is 5. Now my cross section area. First I need to find this cross section area which is in blue. So this is nothing but, as you can see, area of sector minus area of this triangle. So first we'll have to find area of sector. You guys know that area of sector is nothing but theta by 360 into pi r square. Now what is theta? Theta is the angle. We'll first have to find the angle. Let us apply using cos rule or cos theta. This is a right angle triangle where this is 15, this is 20, and this is our angle theta. So I can write it as cos theta is equals to adjacent upon hypotenuse, theta is equals to cos inverse 15 by 20. But I'll also have to multiply this angle with 2 because for sector this whole angle will be considered. So cos inverse of 15 by 20 is 41.409 into 2. So my angle now theta is 82.819. So my area of sector is going to be 82.819 upon 360 into pi into radius, which is 20 square, minus I'll have to subtract the area of this triangle, which is half a into b, which is 20 into 20 into sine 82.819. So now this is my cross sectional area. Now this, if I multiply this with the height, which is I think 150 centimeter, this with 115 centimeter, I'll get my volume. So let me just do that. Divide by 360 into 2 pi into 400 minus 0.5 into 20 into 20 sine 82.815 to 150. So the answer comes out to be 13599.63 centimeter cube. Now we are supposed to give our answer in liters, and you know that 1 cm cube is 1 ml. So 13599.63 cm cube is going to be 13599.63 ml, and in liter this is going to be 13.599, or I can simply write it as 13.6 liters. Next question. Calculate the perimeter of this quadrilateral ABCD. Okay, quadrilateral ABCD. Okay, so ABCD quadrilateral is nothing but AB. This is AB plus BC plus CD plus DA. So let us first find AB. I can find AB as using, this is a right angle triangle, this is hypotenuse. So my cos 35 is going to be adjacent upon hypotenuse. Therefore my AB is going to be 14 cos 35. Similarly, if I apply sine rule, my sine 35 is equals to AD upon 14. Therefore, AD is equals to 14 sine 35. So this is my AB and AD. Now let us find BC. See, we can find BC using sine rule. Sine rule says side angle opposite to BC is 60 degree. So BC upon sine 60 is equals to 60, 45, 105. So this is going to be my 75. So is equals to dB upon sine 75, or you can simply write it as 14 upon sine 75. So my BC is 14 into sine 60 upon sine 75. In the same way, I can find my CD upon sine 45 is equals to 14 upon sine 75. So my CD is going to be 14 into sine 45 upon sine 75. Now let me just add all of them. And I'll get my perimeter, which is 14 cos 35 plus 14 sine 35 plus 14 into sine 60 upon sine 75 plus 14 into sine 45 upon sine 75. So my answer is 42.29, or I can simply write it as 42.3. Let's move to the next question. The diagram shows a cube. The length of the diagonal AB is 8.5 centimeter. The diagonal AB measures 8.5 centimeter. This is the cube. Therefore, all the sides are going to be equal. Let's say this is A, this is also A, this is also A. Find the length of an edge of cube. So let's say this is my diagonal AD. So I can write my AD square is going to be A square plus A square. Therefore, AD square is equals to 2A square. Right? Same way, this is also going to be a right angle triangle. Therefore, AD square plus BD square is equals to AB square. AD square is 2A square plus A square is equals to 8.5 square. Therefore, 3A square is equals to 8.5 square. A is equals to under root 8.5 square upon 3. So let me just calculate this. 8.5 square divided by 3, this comes out to be as 4.91. The answer is 4.907, but I am rounded off to two significant figures, which is 4.91. Next, calculate the angle between AB and the base of the cube. Now, base means, I have already said many times that base means angle. So, angle between AB and this base, which is this angle theta, we are supposed to find. We can easily find out. See, we have adjacent, we also have hypotenuse. Sorry, we have also have the opposite, we also have the hypotenuse. Right? So, we can find it out that, let me do sine theta. Sine theta is equals to A, which is length 4.91 upon hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is AB, which is 8.5. So theta is going to be sine inverse of 4.91 upon 8.5. So 4.91 upon 8. So the angle is 35.28, or also I can write it as 35.3 degree. Next question. Find f of 2. F of 2 is 3 into 2 minus 2. 3 2s are 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. G of 2. So 5 into 2 minus 7. Which is 10 minus 7. 3. Find f of 2 into g. We have already found it out as f of 2 as 4. Let us substitute its value into g, which is 5 into 4 minus 7. 20 minus 7, which is 13. Find f inverse of x. So for f inverse, let us find first, let us write this equation as y is equals to 3x minus 2. Let us swap x and y. We will get x is equals to 3y minus 2. Now make y the subject of formula. Thus x plus 2 upon 3. So f inverse is going to be x plus 2 upon 3. Find f of x into h and give your answer in the form of ax square plus bx plus c. So h f of x is, let us substitute the value of f of x in the equation of h of x. F of x is 3x minus 2 and h of x is x square plus x. So 3x minus 2 whole square plus 3x minus 2. A minus b whole square is a square minus 2ab plus b square plus 3x minus 2. So this is going to be 9x square minus 9x plus 2. Next question. Find derivative of h of x. H of x is x square plus x. Derivative means differentiation. We already know if we have an equation in the form x square x to the power n, then its differentiation is n into x power n minus 1. So the differentiation of x square is going to be 2x and of x is going to be 1. So 2x plus 1. Next, find x when j inverse of x is 4. First, let me check what is g of x. G of x is 3 power x. So g of x is y is equals to 3 power x. For inverse, let us swap the value of x and y. So x is equals to 3 power y. J inverse of x is equals to 4. It means now we are supposed to find x when y is 4. So x is equals to 3 power 4. 3 power 4 is 81. Last, find j of j inverse of x. See, j of j inverse of any number is the same number itself. Let's say j of j inverse of j 5. So the answer is going to be 5. So inverse, I am taking a function, I am doing its inverse and I am multiplying both of them. So I will be left with the same variable. Next, the first 4 terms of a sequence are this, this and this. Write down the next term. Okay, so let me just check term to term rule. 7 minus 11 minus 4 minus 4 minus 4. Okay, so the next term is going to be minus 5. What is the term to term rule? Term to term rule is subtract 4. Write down the nth term. Now let's say my first term was 11. So what will be the term before 11? Before 11 it is going to be 15. So 15, and what's the difference? The difference is of minus 4. So 15 minus 4n is my nth term. The nth term of a different sequence is 2n plus 2n upon n plus 1. Find the difference between 5th and 6th term. So the 5th term is going to be 2 into 5 upon 5 plus 1, which is 10 upon 6, and the 6th term is going to be 2 into 6 upon 6 plus 1, which is 12 upon 7. So the difference is 12 upon 7 minus 10 upon 6. So the LCM will be 42. So 12 into 6, which is 72 minus 70 upon 42. Therefore 2 upon 42, or I can also write it as 1 upon 21. Next question. Is 3 by 4 a term of this sequence? Okay. So 3 by 4, is it a term of this sequence? Let us find the value of x. If we get, let us find the value of n. If we get n as whole number, then yes, this is a term of this sequence. But if we get anything apart from whole number, like a decimal or a negative value, then this is not a term. So 3 into n plus 1 is equals to 4 into 2n. 3n plus 3 is equals to 8n. 3 is equals to 5n. N is equals to 3 by 5. Yes, this is not an integer. How did you decide? Because not an integer, and n should also be greater than 7. Greater than 1, not 7, greater than 1. I think with this we are done with the chapter. I hope you had enjoyed our video. Kindly like, share and subscribe our videos so that you guys can keep us motivated to make more and more videos. Have a good day. Bye bye.